India should keep charge of its bilateral engagement with its largest neighbour China. What are middle power coalitions? Why are middle power coalitions significant for India's regional security? Why India must keep charge of its bilateral engagement with its largest neighbour China? GS Paper 2, Effect of Policies and Politics of Developed and Developing Countries on India's Interests, Indian Diaspora. What is the context about? The middle powers in Indo-Pacific Asia look beyond traditional approaches to security, while there is a rise in China's assertiveness and uncertainties about America's response. Already an impression has been created that US is becoming India's voice on what are essentially bilateral issues between India and China. At a time when India and China have had major differences over a series of issues, allowing an external voice into this bilateral equation can only put India at risk. What are middle power coalitions? They are the informal arrangements, where regional players cooperate with one another on strategic issues, working in self-selecting groups that do not include China or the United States. Already India, Australia, Japan and some Asian countries are expanding security cooperation with each other. India and Australia are well placed to form the core of this middle power coalition building. Asia's diverse powers in the middle, including India, Japan, South Korea, Australia, Indonesia, Vietnam and other ASEAN countries, are adopting a range of strategies. Why are middle power coalitions significant for India's regional security? Areas of cooperation could include security dialogues, intelligence exchanges, military capacity building, technology sharing, agenda setting for regional forums and coordinated diplomatic initiatives to influence both US and Chinese strategic calculations. This would build regional resilience against the vagaries of US-China relations, including against the extremes either of conflict or collusion. It would also reinforce the multipolar quality of the emerging Indo-Pacific order. Such a coalition would necessarily be considered a front to counter Chinese maritime hegemony. While Indian naval presence would boost efforts to police the South China Sea, the other members of this coalition would hardly be able to help India on its most prominent frontier with China, the unresolved line of actual control. Why India must keep charge of its bilateral engagement with its largest neighbour China? Indo-Sino relations have mostly traversed through bitter phases. Seeking bilateral solution to the multi-front problems is not a wise decision diplomatically, considering the backstabbing nature of China over multiple issues like terrorism and NSG. China's growing closeness with Pakistan and its continuous aggression in South China Sea makes the issue tough to be resolved bilaterally. Thus India must change the way it has been treating China since independence. It should leave the path of idealism and follow some realistic approach.